Open it and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore! I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Preserve, protect, and defend
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Well, I think I made it in just under the radar on mountain time. Ah, man. The devil lies squarely within the details with me, man. I got to tweak a lot of stuff. And it got me tweaking. But I was able to work out a couple of kinks. It took the entirety of the evening. Started the day off working, doing my little hustle, and going from that to, getting a quick nap in, to getting my mind right for the rest of the day, and going straight to the gym after that, trying to prep myself for the show, because I was like, all right, if I prep myself for going to the gym and got the show all set up, then I'll have less stuff to worry about when I get back from the gym. Hey, that didn't work out, as you can tell, because I'm started just before midnight, just before the witching hour, which is when I'm always up working on this kind of stuff anyway. But this is your boy, 2G. Welcome back to the control room. This is going to obviously be a real late one and a real short one. I just wanted to finally make sure I nailed it and stamped out a lot of bugs for this rendition of the show. And so I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. I'm here. I'm alive. I look sleepy as heck. Let me fix this so I can be somewhat awake or pretend to be. Man. I'm back, man. I'm just trying to make it all happen. This one, obviously, the intro started much smoother, so that's a good sign. Got this working a little bit better for you, so I can cut in and cut out like I want to without tripping. As long as I don't hit my intro over and over again, we're straight. And yeah. I'm happy to be back in the saddle here for the evening. Any of the late owls that work or don't work or in partying late or whatever, man, if you're coming to check me out, thank you. If you're checking me out later on in the week or tomorrow, whatever, check me out. I appreciate it. twogeniusworld.com has always been on a mission to get things back up and running. And so I have successfully this week done a lot, and it's actually going smoother and smoother, as I told you it would be. That's why I waited late to make it actually happen. So a lot of the things I'm hitting no longer mute out my mic, stuff like that. And so stamping out all the details, man, in the evening, late hours, man. And I'm happy to report to you that we have successfully killed the bugs as Starship Troopers, right? Kill them all. And I wanted to kind of chime in and check out some updates. So this would be like my version of weekend updates. If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not doing any gigging, live performing or whatever, then I'll try to, at some point at the top of the weekend, if it's a Friday night, if it's a Saturday night, or during the day of one of those days, I'll kind of get a jump in and do a weekend update of either things that I got coming up or things that are coming down the pipeline in the news cycle, all of that. That's the game plan. So obviously I'm not doing this just so I can catch people live. This is actually something that I'll actually break up later, and you can also catch little clips of as well. And yes, my next time going live will be me actually making some music again. So but while you're on this show, if you're coming to check it out live, you always want to go to twogeniusworld.com and go to twogeniusworld.com/guest-TCR, and you can join in and check me out. So yeah, I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about this evening, and If you stick with me, you'll see that I haven't really done a lot of playing back of stuff, so I'm catching it live as I'm going over it. But these were kind of like little headline blurbs that I saw where I was like, oh, this might be interesting, worth talking about. And some of it is stuff that I also wanted to go over that have spent a lot of time over the years either admiring and wanted to give my take on it and let people see how I feel about certain topics that I find interesting. So this is one of those times, and I wanted to go ahead and pull up one of them that was first on the docket. I just noticed what was the headline to this one? It said the orange guy, I'm not going to use his name right now, but the orange guy reacts to Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation announcement. Now, what is she resigning from? I don't even remember what she was actually a part of, other than the Republican Party, of course, and the Make America Great Again and all that good stuff. But let me pull this up, and then we'll check it out together.
And late Friday, Georgia Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene announced she
plans. What did she call her? Margarine? I don't know.
And late Friday, Georgia Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene announced she plans to resign in January. As CBS Christian Benavidez reports, it was a surprise announcement that came on the heels of a falling out with President Trump, who recently unendorsed her.
Wow. Okay, that's news to me. I didn't know anything about that. Why did he do that? I don't know. I'll have to do my research on that as well.
We're going to re-elect our favorite president.
Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was elected to Congress as one of President Trump's fiercest backers. But now it's Trump who's driving her from her seat. Greene said she would resign in January and posted this video.
I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for.
Okay. All right. I must have been sleeping under a rock. I don't know what happened. Of course, dealing with who we have in power in quotes. He's always trying to pull the rug. So it doesn't take long to find out that when you do get news, it's always going to be something alarming or something humorous or something completely ludicrous. So let's continue.
The falling out between Trump and Greene came to a head over Greene's forceful criticism of the president over files related to Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
This week, President Trump signed a measure to release the Epstein files he at first opposed it.
And he's been going back and forth over this whole thing. So we know that if it smells like smoke, right? There's got to be fire.
Before a public pressure campaign, mainly led by Representative Greene.
I've never owed him anything.
Mentioning that he was the first one saying, oh, we're going to go and dig into this. And now he's like, obviously saying, hey, Jeffrey, why are we still talking about this dude?
I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition.
And what could she ever expect but that? I mean, shoot, he's obviously after CYA numero uno. He's not going to be trying to do anything other than that. Yeah, man. This one earns. All right. She's got to be the biggest airhead possible, man. What the heck's wrong with you, woman?
She's also criticized some of the administration policies on healthcare and foreign policy. Ultimately, Trump called her a traitor and wacky. Greene said she received threats.
Marjorie Traitor Greene.
Oh, here we go with the nicknames.
Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
In her video announcing her resignation, she predicted Republicans.
if his ego is not fully stroked and his confidence not fondled with thoroughly, and if his I'm not going to continue that, but you get my point. If you're not on his team, you are completely his enemy. If you're not a friend, you're an enemy. I don't care what it is. If you're not following every single vibe that he has going, that's really like, this is my mission. I'm flowing this way, and I make right angle turns without warning. And if you're not still lockstep with me, then you are immediately put to the wayside. Immediately. So there you go.
Republicans will lose next year's midterm elections. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Well, I had to do more research on what she's actually retiring from, but obviously she's picked up a whole new mission, and we'll have to see how that plays out. So that's going to be fun to watch. All right, well, let's see if this goes smoother. Yeah, that's going to be kind of choppy. I'll fix that later. That's better now. Damn. So that's the story with that. That's why I wanted to catch it fresh, with a fresh pair of ears and eyes. I didn't want to kind of like have canned responses for this whole thing, because this is kind of something I was working my show up to be able to talk about the current political climate and all of the Beelzebub theatrics that are taking place. Ooh. Your boy 2G is not happy, man. This is some wildness. And I don't like it. Never did. And I always wanted to bring my voice to it, but not only my voice, but bring other people's voice in there and see how they feel about this wildness. Because like I said on a few things before, it's tough to actually do any of this stuff while do any like thing creative or have any kind of like drive or fervor to actually push yourself, because it's like the climate has always been wild. You got this, it's just like absolute chaos. It's the news cycle is always surrounding and the the Capitol and the White House and all the theatrics involved with that. And it's like, man, I'm not, why get a subscription to Netflix? Why get any kind of Prime subscription to anything? It's like, unless you're trying to get away from reality, and then you have to find something a little more sane now in your fiction or in your, whatever form of entertainment you seek, actually has to be kind of like a little less potent by comparison to reality now. It used to be the other way around a little bit, at least for a little while, at least for a good decade or so. It wasn't nearly that wild, but prior to 2015 or 2016, things were looking up. They were looking way up. And who knew that we were right already at the top of the hill while we were looking up? And, when you're in that roller coaster and then you get that gut sinking feeling as this man was tumbling his way down the escalator for his official run to put us through a decade or more of complete and utter disgust and just vileness and pitting us against each other, and family members can't stand each other, friends saying what? If you're in a band, drumsticks are flying, cymbals are getting tossed. That's an inside joke from my band anyway. It's wild out here, man. It's a wild, wild west with the tumbleweeds and the boot spurs and everything. It's like, whoa, everybody's trying to, trying not to turn it into a duel All you need is Clint Eastwood or some variation of that to come back, and you're like, all right, man. Yeah. I ain't cut for this stuff, man. I never was, but this is some dumbness going on. Now, I'm not going to go crazy into the political atmosphere tonight, but because that's the only reason why I was sane enough to get this stuff together as it was. Well, one of the reasons, because I didn't watch this all the time, and like I was when things were first as crazy with the kickoff of it all. But now I'm like, okay, let me breathe on it. Let me take this in doses. I don't want to find myself kind of like turned into a person who consumes so much of it that you'd be like, all right, man, I don't want to do anything else. And I've seen some movies that done that to me, or, you know, been around certain energies of people that have done that to me. And we've all been there where it's like, okay, is all you got to talk about is something negative? And it just kind of consumes you. It turns like a shadow or a cloak that just hangs over you like a heavy blanket. And so nobody wants to be in that kind of spirit or that kind of vibe, and that's definitely me. So I try to be very careful with that, and I kind of go out of my way to when I am working on stuff to, let's see if I can do this here, if it'll let me. Get out of here. Give me there you are. Try to go into different vibes of entertainment that, or nostalgia that reminds me of a period of time that keeps me going. Now, before I go into a couple of those things, I would like to talk about one more topic that got under my skin. Don't know a whole lot about the details and specifics, but I was like, really, like I said, these were bullet points of the headlines that I was like, all right, let me see what's going on here. And here we are. Let's find out about this one. This one is the Fuji's rapper Prize. I didn't even know his last name, so that first name is official, Prize Michael. Sentenced to 14 years for illegal Obama campaign donations. What? Illegal? And I'm sure the orange one has something to do with this as well. I'm sure of it. But let's take a peek. Let's find out how wild it is.
Fuji's rapper Pras Michel has been sentenced to 14 years in prison. He was convicted of illegally funneling millions of dollars in foreign contributions to former President Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign. Lawyers for Michel say he plans to appeal his conviction and his sentence.
Well, we know that's going to be the case. I'll get to you later. That's not what I want to look at right now. I do want to talk about that. That's freaky, but that's not as freaky as real life, as I mentioned. So. When it comes to Praz, I was like, all right, that's also interesting. I didn't know it was titled as illegal campaign donations. Of course, I got to dig more into that. What does that mean? Illegal campaign donations. What makes it illegal? Got to look into that. That's kind of like, look like somebody was fishing and stretching, and of course he is going to appeal for it. So, and this was so long ago. This is 2012. So it feels like, I don't know, maybe they feel like something's about to happen again and they're trying to get him out the way, where he's going to kind of, you know, pour into the next campaign that's going to be the opposition to what it is now. As far as like I said, I'm not a fan of, many people don't know, I'm not a fan of the whole political climate with the whole red versus blue. And, you know, it's never been It's always been one of these things that it was always teetering on the edge of collapse, just based off of the structure of it. And we're living through it now, where one side just says, okay, let me just grab you by the neck, and this is gonna be mine for a while. You like how that feels, huh? You like that? And we gotta pretty much try to soak it up and suck it up. So now the pendulum is about to swing in a crazy way in the other direction because of how wild it is. It was at first when Kamala was running, when she came out of nowhere basically in the clutch and thought she was going to kind of snatch everything back from the gates of where we are now. But clearly the game is being played a whole different way, and she is thinking about running again. So who knows if Praz is going to have another tip of the hat into this, and this is what one of the ways of getting him out of the way. That's more than within the realm of possibility. Like I said, I'll do some more digging on that and find out more about it. Crazy stuff. So I'm going to now pivot into some entertainment. I told you guys I was going to go check out Predator Badlands, and I haven't yet, but I wanted to watch some of the trailer and see if it's worth me looking at, because sometimes there's you get there's mixed reviews on a lot of this, and from what I can tell, even with how they're putting the what do you want to call it, the universe or the lore, where they're kind of bringing things together that you normally wouldn't see. This is weird looking. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so she's the android, and it's also with Wayland. So that's the thing about it. So she's an android. They're giving away a lot of stuff, but they're using that as the marketing to get people there anyway, because they're crossing universes again with Alien and Predator. There's always been like that, but I think these two franchises between Alien and Predator have always been in some murky territory when it comes to the story, and how it's been evolving. Now, back then I would give it all the crazy paths that these two franchises have taken. Back then I would give it a pass just because people were trying new things. But now I think we're in an era where the new things that people are trying, as far as the writers and just coming up with new concepts and trying to make them stick and make them work, is pretty much it's a byproduct of the climate we're in, from the political climate to everything, which means also a lot of I think there's like lingering effects from COVID, where a lot of things were kind of put on hold, a lot of projects were set back, and quite frankly, we lost a lot of creative people in the process of that crazy net of COVID, and how it was mismanaged by the orange one, in my opinion. So that being said, of course, everything's connected in my mind to how we consume creativity. Like I had mentioned on my last stream, is that you find a lot of gaps in the creative spark, the things that motivate you to go see something and stick with it. Like when I saw the Fantastic Four, the most recent rendition of that, and it just felt kind of dull, even though they kind of wiped the slate clean and everything. I think the concepts are great in terms of taking it to a whole different vibe, and still, staying true to a retro futuristic kind of vibe. And that's how it was kind of introduced anyway. And more of a Jetson-y vibe, and so now you got, I'm kind of rambling, but what I'm saying is that you have these new branching off of different ways of telling a familiar tale or a story, and then it becomes more like heavy lifting in terms of how you would actually be able to make it something still feel authentic, feel true to the, while still staying true to the original concept, and still keeping a franchise going and keeping it going because you have a familiarity to, know that you'll be able to make money off of it, one, but you can also, try to make it, try to get new eyes on it, new ears on it that will be able to enjoy it better, and even old ones. So there's a big balancing act, and I think what I've noticed is one of the byproducts when it comes to some of the streaming services, there are these golden nuggets of people who said, okay, well, we might not be able to work our way into the large budgets of being behind some of the familiar projects as we would like to, just because things have kind of like settled in terms of hype. It's not Star Wars level hype. That franchise has kind of been run through the ringer for some of the familiar reasons I just mentioned about how the climate of everything when it comes to entertainment has been shifted. And there's also been a lot of agendas being pushed into the content we consume in a more heavy-handed, preachy manner. So that I can't really get behind. I like the subtlety of and the nuances that come with storytelling versus just smacking you across the face and saying you should get behind this. This is something that is just what it is now, and you have to like it. Versus being involved with something and being inspired to be from the side of the creator to the side of the consumer, and finding a way to have a language that makes you appreciate the dance of it, not so much the just you don't want to grab. I'll put it this way: like when you're selling any product, when it's being pushed in your face versus when you're actually being able to just have not necessarily free will is the word I'm looking for, but have just you can actually approach it from a soft sell versus a hard sell, because obviously there's a lot of products out there now that if you go to see them or go to consume them, the branding behind them will always have you knowing, this is this, the arches are the arches, the golden arches are golden arches, so forth and so on. When you see Colonel with the old tie, you only have to see his full face, just a silhouette, and that's chicken, right? And so forth and so on. Same thing with movies, even when they market stuff through the movies. That I never had an issue with, because it's in part of the action. You see, even when the Superman, the Zack Snyder version of Superman, they were kind of heavy-handed with some of the IHOPs and the I don't know if it was Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, but yeah, right in the middle of action, they getting knocked through 7-Elevens. But I still think even then it was kind of like incorporated into the action just right. So when you got this level of cross marketing or cross branching of franchises, and you have there's like a chasm of ability to be able to present them in a way that we're dealing with a lot of smart people these days, and they know exactly what they want to hear, what they want to see, and they know they're very savvy. They know when things are kind of like not right, something's off about that, or it's being pushed on them. So I think that's what I'm going to get out of this, in the combination of the lack of originality to it. So, and it's hard to do that because these franchises have been going since a lot of us were kids. So let me check out some more of this trailer and I'll stop interrupting. This is our long version of the review. So
Open it.
didn't I say I was going to stop doing that? I got to stop putting those so close together. All right, get some sound here.
So this is your first hunt.
All right. A lot of people were like, this predator kind of looks a little different for some reason. And from what I understand, he's like the runt of his clan or whatever. So I guess maybe they were also kind of using that as a way so I think a lot. So I think they probably were trying to branch away from the iconic look.
And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe.
And I've also heard that this is PG-13, but I've also noticed that the CGI is kind of not. It's like things feel kind of just stale. Doesn't with all the talent they have. And I'll say this for another review. I noticed that a lot of like, let's see if there's a hotkey for you. Yeah, not to make one. A lot of actual CG artists, they just don't have a lot of support, and they don't get a lot of payment out of all the hard work they put in. Sounds familiar. And so maybe that also plays into it. So you got that coupled with the CG artists that don't get paid much. So you got that coupled with the fact that this is not even a rated R, which has always been for both franchises, which is also kind of amazing. And the other stuff I mentioned earlier about. So I never saw Prey. I heard it was sufficient, but once again, not quite have the rawness that we liked. Now I liked, here's where I think everything branched off. Like the first two of both franchises, Predator 1 and 2 were great. Anything beyond that, any variation of that was slightly serviceable, but it's kind of like sequelitis kicks in and things change and it becomes same thing with Alien and Aliens. Yep, it was dope, but then it kind of ventured off into some, okay, why are we still talking about this? Why is this interesting? Stuff like that.
You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator. I could help you.
I don't even like the music behind it and the marketing behind it. It just don't. It's not grabbing. It's like, okay, are we doing some buddy cop in space between an alien and a cyborg? Like, what the hell?
Well,
trying to make it humorous comedy.
Good luck with your journey.
So, not a huge fan of what I see so far. I'm getting After Earth vibes, but with more humor thrown in. It might be dope, but there might be things to like about it. There might not. I don't know. I still have yet to. I'll put it this way. I'm still not excited. I guarantee you this: you won't find no people rushing to make video games out of this. If you do, it's going to be like some cheesy phone app type thing, that nobody's really like geeked to play. unless they're just in their spare time saying, okay, I want to check this out just because or whatever. But yeah, other than that, whatever, man. Like, for example, when I say video games, let's see if I got something in here. Like, who remembers, like, if you're from the video game era like I am, who remembers this wonderful gem? And I never was able to catch it in the arcade, but it was serviceable when I had my NES. I'm going to date myself. When I had my NES. And this also kind of stemmed from both franchises in a way. So let me pull this up so you can check out what I'm trying to show you. This was always dope. See if I can get some sound out of you. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I was always impressed by this particular game. This is Contra. And this was on the NES. This is the NES version, and it was kind of emulating the version that you would get in the arcades. And it sounded good, and this was Super C. I remember playing the arcade version of Super C, though, and that was fun as well. Of course, you could never get anywhere because the games were so difficult. Like, the Japanese just wanted to take all your quarters in these games. So when it came out on the home entertainment system, then you were able to actually, you know, instead of spending a bunch of money, you were just spending a bunch of time and not getting outside and exercising. And this is, of course, they call it Operation C on the Game Boy. But point that I'm trying to make is, do you ever see, or would you ever see, any place possible that Predator, any of the recent Predator or Alien movies would have that kind of cultural impact? And obviously we know the answer to that. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I hate to have that vibe. I like to, you know, nostalgia is a great thing, and they've been trying to be marketing towards nostalgia and making money off of it, but they keep stepping in the pits and shooting themselves in the you know who. And I had it up here about it. You know what I mean? It should be way better than, you know, if you got all this kind of money, where is the money going? I said, where is going? Can you tell me? Because I would sure like to know. As it seems like the writers aren't getting paid enough. The daggone CG artists and practical effects are not getting paid enough, because it feels like a McDonald's cheeseburger that just wears off after a while. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have that kind of an entertainment. You know, we're going through enough in this world as it is. Give us something to kind of like look forward to go see and walk away from and talk about that, and versus talking about how fucked up the world is. Excuse me. The world is. So, dang it, man. That's my thing about it. So, I'm not, I mean, even to this day, they've made remakes of this stuff. And just because of the nostalgia, and they've actually done better in video games for the nostalgia's sake.
Hardcore Uprising is a long way
than they did with some of the movies that cost, you know, comparable or way more. I'm here, like, just around the corner, there's supposed to be Avatar. I was never impressed with the first one of those. I was like, all right. I'm talking about both Avatars, the one by M. Night Shyamalan that tried to, you know, revive a kid's cartoon and bring it to the big screen. And just as much as the Avatar by James Cameron, with all the effort, and they spent all kinds of money to make it look wonderful, like you're in a Disney, you know, theme park or whatever, or a whole nother world. But the story falls so flat that you're like, okay, this is great marketing, looks great on the outside, beautiful, and you consume it, and you're like, you know how you have some of those sparkling waters and they're like, oh, that looks refreshing and tasty. And you just drink it, and it's nothing more than soda water with a hint of something. I'm like, why make the marketing look so good? And that's how I feel about a lot of that stuff, man. I'm just not a fan of it, man. This was 2011. Let's see what the more recent, if they have any more recent versions that, yeah, like this one that I just saw come out more recently about the same video game franchise that kind of spawned out of all this Predator and Alien stuff. Because when you think about it, before I go to the more recent one, let's see if I can pull this part of it up here. Yeah, let me get this one. So I lost my screen on that. Let's do this. There you are. Like, even the marketing and branding, this is what made people get the video game, because of course the graphics when you were playing them on the Nintendo, it didn't look anything like this. And that's what I was like, all right, well, shoot, I might as well yeah, there you are. So that obviously was modeled after your good boy Arnie, and apparently this one, I thought for a while that this guy here was modeled after Sylvester Stallone and Rambo. So I would say partly yes, but also from I want to say Hicks from Alien. So you got your Predator and you got your Alien / Rambo here. And of course that looks way, I don't know how they got away with doing this, because that easily rips off of Alien, but since they changed the color or something, who knows, back that time, but it all looks just like Alien. And maybe at some point the writers and creators of Alien eventually got paid from that, because that is ripped, you know, Konami and Nintendo are as big as they are. I mean, that's Arnold all day. This guy you could probably get away with, all right? Just with the red bandana, that's all that reminds you of Rambo. But between Arnold and this Alien thing, this was all crossover here back then. And when did that come? When did the original one come out? I can't remember. But look at this. Here's the other version of that. This is off the actual marketing for Predator. And you tell me, right? Other than you got the Predator versus the Alien in the back. Either one would have been a dope movie if Arnold was in an Alien movie. Oh, wouldn't that have been dope? Woo, I would have loved to see that. But no action stars as big as they were back then. The Rock has softened up, you know, to the point where he's doing some other stuff that I got to check out that was apparently Oscar worthy. So that's also something I want to look into. I think it was called The Smashing Machine. So, really am not impressed, but I was going to show you one more thing here of the 2020, or at least close to 2020 version of Contra. So let's see here. And I've also seen some AI videos that kind of like emulate what you used to see, or what you kind of envision when you were playing it. You know how I mentioned with the Blues Brothers, where the car chases kind of remind you of Hot Wheels and stuff like that. Well, some of the AI videos kind of reminded me of what this would have looked like had it been, you know, real or close enough to real, to like these real graphics that you see here. And even better, I was like, wow. Because when you're playing it as a kid, your mind kind of paints the picture of what you would want to see. Let's see him come out of here. There we go. So yeah, this is all I wanted to kind of cover this evening. And next time I'll put me a little clock up here so I know how long I've been going. But I think this is about 40 minutes. And just wanted to get in here. I'm obviously kind of tired, but I made a vow to myself to get in before, get a live stream in before midnight tonight. And I think I was able to pull that off. to some degree. Now, obviously, as I go, it'll get smoother and earlier because I clearly have cleared a lot of kinks, with the exception of my intro button being way too close to everything else. So either I'll get out of the habit of reaching over here and hitting that button too quick, or I will either put something over here so my hands will catch it before, like Braille, or I'll just remove that button from there altogether and put it somewhere else, which might be the final way I get. If I struggle with it on the next stream, that's what I'll end up doing. So appreciate you sticking with your boy. Thanks for coming to check me out either on live. I also got that carrot package working for me. Billy Two Sticks, thank you so much. Has helped me get through the evenings and helped me get over the final humps and hurdles. Thank you, Mr. Go-Go, for always coming in the clutch as well. Might as well throw some more thank yous out there. Thank you, Molly Sue, for doing the damn thing as you always do and keeping me afloat. Your boy don't always know where his next meal is coming from. Your boy don't always know what's happening tomorrow, but I do know that I won't quit. And that's the whole game plan for it, what I'm doing. I'm not here just to sugarfoot and play around. I'm actually really in it to do some things and get people engaged and stuff like that. So I had a good gym workout this earlier before coming into this. So I had my energy. I had a couple buzzes going on before I got started. And now it's time to shut it down because I'm going to go in tomorrow and I'll be at Plaza 38. Just doing a little jam session, sit in with the keys. Everybody's taking a break from for the holiday and getting some well-deserved reset time and realignment. So I like to use these times to kind of build up more things, and as you're experiencing now, and then also go and get my chops together as well. So I'm thinking Monday, though, I won't do the control room. I'll just do a live stream of me working on some music for sure now that I got this stuff figured out better. Thank you again. Your boy 2G is out of here for this evening / this morning, and I will talk to you later.